डॉक्टर बाबासाहेब आंबेडकर ओपन युनिव्हर्सिटी.
नमस्कार. Welcome to Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Open University. I am Dr. Preeti Baser. Welcome you in the lecture series of Bachelor of Science Information Technology program for the subject Database Management System. I am welcome you from the Chaitanya Studio. Today we are going to discuss about the unit 2 of block 4. It is all about SQL command. In the previous session we have discussed about what is SQL, why the SQL is needed. We also have seen the brief introduction about various SQL commands, as well as we have also seen the fundamental of how the SQL commands have been processed into the database engine. So, in today's lecture, we are going to discuss more detail about each and every SQL command. So, the agenda of today's lecture is we are going to discuss DDL command, that is data definition language. In data definition language, there are 4 types of command have been used. Basically, it is used to create tables, it is used to alter table, truncate table and drop table. Right? So, initially how to create the tables into the database, it will be discussed in DDL command. Then we will discuss about the DML command, that is about data manipulation language command. So, after creating the table, how can we insert data into the database, right? How can we modify the data? How can we delete the data? It is explained by these DML commands, right? So, for DML commands, we will be discussing update command, insert command and delete command. Then after that we will discuss about data query language command. In this we will explain the fundamental how the select command will be used to retrieve the data from the database. Okay. Now let us first see whenever you run your Oracle 9i software, right? So, at the client side, you will be having a SQL server, SQL interface. So, in this SQL, you will be having the SQL prompt, and whatever the queries are there is to be required by the user needs to be entered into the SQL command, right? SQL prompt only. Okay, so whichever the query is there, select query, insert query, update query, that all this query must be written on this SQL prompt, right? And below this you will be getting the result, right? So, if the query is successfully run, you will be get the result in the form of tabular, or if the query is not syntactically correct, it will show the error messages, right? So, first of all, you should know how to write the query, right? Okay, so let us see DDL command. It is about the data definition language. What is data definition language? So, first of all, whenever you would like to design a database, right? So many tables are required for database designing, and there is an interrelationship between all these table, right? So, before doing the just creating tables, so first of all you have to manually design the database, how many tables are required for our applications, what should be the relationship between all these table, And finally, once this database design is uh, has been defined correctly, right, then the next step is you have to create the databases, right, and in this database you have to create the different tables and you have to define the relationship between all these tables, right, and you can further do tasks like insert, update and delete. Okay, so the first command, that is a create command, right. Then we will see alter command. That means whatever the tables we have created earlier using create command, later on if we would like to if we feel that we would like to change the definitions of the table, right, we would like to rename the table, we would like to change the data type of the column, we would like to rename the columns, right. So in that case the alter command is used, right. After that we will discuss about the truncate command, basically used to remove the data from the tables. Then the drop command, basically used to delete the data itself as well as the database table. That definition, the table definition will be removed from the database. Now let us discuss each and every command in detail. The first one command, that is belonging to DDL language, it is called as a create command, right. So create command is basically used to create the table into the database, right. So whenever there is nothing in database, right, it is completely empty and you are first uh, creating the tables into the database, right. So using this command you can create a new table into the database, right. So while creating the tables you require the table name, right, and you have to define what kind of fields that table should contain and what are the values that field should contain, right. So its type should be mentioned during the creating the table. Okay, now let us see the syntax of the create table command. We have a create table, right, followed by the table name. We have to give the create table command this keyword and follow by the table name, right. Opening brace and its corresponding closing brace is compulsorily required, right. So if you made any mistakes writing such kind of SQL statement, right, it will show, the compiler will show the error, right. So make sure that if you have written opening brace and its corresponding brace should be always been written, right. So create table, after that you have to specify the meaningful name of table. So if you are designing a database table for the college, right, and you are creating the student database, you should provide the meaningful name, right. So the end user can be able to understand what the table mean to say. Then inside the bracket you have to specify the different columns, column 1, column 2, column 3, right. How many column is required? Basically we know the table is nothing but the combination of rows and column, right. So the column are nothing but the attributes, right, which kind of attributes we do require. Okay, so the column 1, what kind of value it can hold, right. So suppose we are creating the student table, right, we have to analyze which kind of field the student table can hold, right. Student name, student roll number, student address, his mobile number and email ID, right. So all these will be considered as a part of field name, right. Now after giving the names of column you have to specify that its data type, right. So if there is a roll number, right, so what kind of data type that field can contain, right, what kind of value that field should contain. Okay, so student ID is always been in the integer form, right. So respective data type must be mentioned along with the field name, right, and it must be written the size. Okay, size means how many bytes it can hold, right. for example 2, right? So it can hold up to 2 digit. Okay. Then column 2, its corresponding data type and its size. Column 3, its data type and its size, and so on, right? As many number of columns you require in your table, you have to mention, and its corresponding data type and its size. Okay. So after doing this, you can also specify the primary key, right? So what is the primary key? Primary key is the unique key which uniquely identify the records into the database, right? So which of the column must be specified as a primary key? For example, roll number, right? So in particular class, the roll number is unique, right? If you talk about any of the university, they provide the enrollment number. So enrollment number is unique, right, for each and every student, so that this enrollment number should be considered as a primary key, right? So you can have primary key for one field, or you can have more than one primary key, right, in your table, right? So this is the syntax for creating the table, right? So let us talk about which kind of data types are allowed in Oracle, right? So the first one data type, that is called as a character, right? So the character, inside the character you have to specify the size of character, right? So it is basically used to store the character within the predefined length, right? So it can store up to 2000 bytes, right? So whenever you are dealing with the characters, right, alphabets, right, in that case you have to use the character data type. Then and character size, right, basically it is used to store the national characters data within the predefined length, right? So and char, within the and char you have to specify the size. One more thing I just would like to highlight, that whenever you are writing the query, it is not case sensitive. You can write the query in uppercase or lowercase, right? Then the third one, that is a varchar 2. Inside varchar 2, we have to specify the size of this data type, right? So basically it is used to store the string data within the predefined size, right? So it is nothing but the variable string, right? So in such cases your data is varying, like address, right? In some of the cases the address having 10 characters, in some of the cases address is very long, it can hold more than 10 characters, right? So in that case you have to store the data, right, by specifying the varchar 2, right, data type. Okay. So it stores the string data type, right, and whatever the size you have specified, it can hold that many characters, right, and it can store up to 4000 bytes. Okay. Then the next one, that is varchar size. It is also same as a varchar 2, right? You can use the varchar and varchar 2 interchangeably, but it is suggested to use varchar 2 data type while you are dealing with the text, right, while you are dealing with the string values. Okay, because this varchar 2 can store the variable string data, right? So if you have smaller string, right, it can also hold, right? If you have a larger string, it can also hold, right? So variable kind of string is there. Okay, so for that you have to use varchar 2. Next one, that is the n-varchar 2 size. Basically when you are dealing with the Unicode character, right, Unicode string. Okay, so you would like to store the Spanish characters, French characters, right, Urdu characters or Hindi character. In that case you have to use a n-varchar 2, right, and within the size you have to specify the size of the data type. Okay, so these are the character data type that we need to store, we need to specify while creating the table. Then when you are dealing with the number type, there are different different data type have been used. The first one, that is a number, right? In the number type, it can contain the precision and scale, right? In a precision, it can range from 1 to 38, right? So this much long value you can hold, right, by specifying the number. Okay, and the scale can also range from -84 to 127. Same way, if you are dealing with the numeric type, you can also use the float, right? It is also a subtype of number type, right? But the precision, the range of precision here from 1 to 26 digit, right? So you can have 126 digit long value. Okay. Then binary float. It is also used for the binary precision for 32 bit, right? And then you can also use the binary double for double binary precision 64 bit, right? Apart from this, you can have a date type, right? When you are dealing with the date values, we have a date type, right? But I just have mentioned here character and numeric data type, right? Okay, so this is the example of how to create the employee table. Create table, it is the keyword, right, followed by the table name employee, right, opening brace and its corresponding closing brace. Okay, in this body of the create command, we have to specify the different fields, its type and the size of data type, right? So the first one field, that is the employee ID and its type is number, right? If you are not specify the scale, it will take the whole number, right? Because employee ID does not have a precision scale value, right? Then first name character varchar 2 255 characters, last name varchar 2 255 characters, email also varchar 2 type and 255 character. Same way, we have address line and city. Both all are of varchar 2 255 characters, right? I just have mentioned 255 size, but whatever the minimum size is required for storing the data, you have to use. Otherwise, unnecessary the data space will be occupied, right? After creating table, you would like to see the description of the table, right? For that, this DESC command is used, right? So at the SQL prompt, you have to write the DESC employee, right? So after writing this command, you will be having a tabular representation of the table, right? So the first column will indicate the field, second, what kind of the type of each and every field, whether this field is null or not, whether the particular field is primary key, whether this field contain default value or not, right? But at present we have not specified any primary key, we have not specified not null condition here, right? So that's why all the fields will be considered as a null value, right? So if the user would like to enter empty value, even though the database engine will allow the empty value, right? Now during the creation of the table, we would like to specify different kinds of constraint on particular column, right? So how can you specify the constraint into the database table, right? So basically the constraint are nothing but some kind of conditions or restriction we are applying on the database table, right? So what will happen when we are applying the constraint? So before inserting the data into the database, it will check this condition, right? once the constraint have been specified, it will check for the condition, and if the condition we have applied to the database holds true, right, the data which is to be inserted, right, if the condition is true, the data will be inserted. Otherwise, what will happen, it will show the error message like by mentioning the different error. Okay, so then once the condition is satisfying, when the constraint is satisfying, then data will be inserted into the database table, right. So the constraints are nothing but the condition and restriction we have given on the database column into the database table. Okay, so if the conditions this restriction have been satisfied, right, then the data will be inserted into the particular column, right, into the database. Okay, now there are two types of constraints in the SQL. The first one, that is the column level constraint, right, and the second one is the table level constraint. What is column level constraint? When the constraint is applied on a single column, it is called as a column level constraint. And the table level constraint, if the constraint is applied on multiple columns, then it is called as a table level constraint. At present, we are discussing only about the column level constraint. Definitely, you can apply the constraints on more than one column, right? So, which kind of constraints are there in SQL? We have a not null constraint, we have a unique constraint, primary key constraint, foreign key constraints, check constraints, and default constraint. So, we will discuss each and every constraint with suitable example, right. So, the first one, that is a not null. When the tables column is declared as a not null, then the value for that column cannot be null. It cannot be empty. Null means empty, right. So, if the user don't insert the empty value, don't insert the value, it will be considered as a null. But if the field is considered as specified as a not null, right. So, whenever user would like to mention user have to compulsorily enter that value, right. So, the column cannot be empty for particular records, right. So, there must be exist a value in the column to which the not null constraint is applied, right. So, if the not null constraint is applied on particular column, the value should always be exist, right. So, this is not null. Now, how can we specify the not null constraint while creating the table, right. So, there is a create command, right, create table name, column name, its data type and size correspondingly, and follow by not null. That means wherever we have mentioned the not null clause, right, in column name 1, okay, so that field should be compulsorily entered, right. It cannot hold empty value, right. So, below this create command, we have mentioned the create example of the student table. Create table student ID integer type, and this ID is not null, followed by the not null keyword, right, and the rest of things, first name, last name, phone number, email ID have been specified. That means student ID cannot be empty, right. So, if we are inserting the remaining value and the student ID is null, it will show the database will show the error, right. So, the compulsorily it will verify the database definition, right. What is the structure of the database, what kind of constraints have been specified into the particular table, right? If the constraints are successfully satisfied, your data will be inserted into the database table, right? Now the second one is a unique constraint, right? So sometime if you would like to fill that duplicate value should not be allowed in the column, right? So it is possible with the use of unique constraint. You don't want to require a duplicate values into the a particular column, right? So using a unique constraint, you will be having unique values into the particular column only. So this unique constraint can be applied in more than one column, which means that each and every column should have a unique values, right? So the first column, second column, both are unique, are having the unique constraint. Both should have a unique value. This unique constraint can also be used to modify the already created table, right? Let us see the syntax of the unique constraint, right? The first one, that is the syntax how to create the unique constraint while creating the table. Create table, table name, column 1, data type, and followed by the unique keyword, right? Which of the columns should be considered as a unique constraint, right? That column should be mentioned as a unique. Remaining column are not required, so unique keyword should not be used. Okay. So this is the syntax of the unique constraint in create table. The below it is the example of unique constraint on student table, create table, student ID, and integer. Student ID should be unique. There should not be duplication of the student ID, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So once all these IDs are created, have been inserted into the database, you cannot have duplicate values of the student ID. For the remaining case, first name, last name, phone number, you can have duplicate values, right? But for student ID, you should have a unique value. Then the third one constraint, that is a primary key. The primary key constraint is nothing but the combination of not null and unique constraint. Means once the field have been mentioned as a primary key, that field should not contain null value, or all the values of that column should be unique, right? So not null constraint and unique constraint comes together and it becomes a primary key constraint, right? So primary key have two constraints, not null also, as well as the unique constraint, right? So the column to which we have applied the primary key constraint will always contain a unique value, and it should not contain null value. Let us see an example of primary keys constraint. While creating the table, we have used the create command, create table, table name, column 1, data type, and followed by the primary key, right? Okay. So while remaining columns are not considered as a primary key. Okay. So this is the structure or syntax of specifying the primary key while creating the table, right? So the below it we have student table, right? In the student table we have used student ID as a primary key. That means student ID should contain unique value as well as it cannot hold null value, right? So it is not null, as well as all the ID should be unique, while the rest of field can contain a null value, right? Or it can duplicate the values. Third one, that is the foreign key. Foreign key constraints. When we are designing the database, so many tables are there and all these tables are related with each other, right? So the primary key of one table should be should refer to the foreign key of another table, right? For example, there is a employee table. Employees are working in different department, right? So employee ID is a primary key in a employee table, while employee ID in the department table is considered as a reference key, and this reference key should refer to the employee ID of the employee table, right? So when we have two tables, one table takes the reference from the another table. That means the same column is to be present in the both table, right? So employee ID should also present in employee table, employee ID should always also present in department table, right? So employee ID is a primary key in employee table, while employee ID in the department table should refer to the primary key employee ID of the employee table, right? So this is how we can make the relationship between two tables, employee and department. Let us specify the foreign key in the while creating the table. Create table, table name, column name and the primary key, right? Column, another column, and for at the end of creating table, foreign key has been specified. So the foreign key is column name and it should refer to the parent table name, and this primary key should be matched with that foreign key. Okay. So you will be able to understand this syntax very clearly by this example. There are two tables, employee and below it is a department, right? So employee ID is the primary key in employee table and employee ID is the foreign key in department table. As you can see, employee ID is the primary key, while department ID is the primary key in department table, but these two tables are related. So we have to specify the employee ID, right, in the department table as a foreign key. So the employee ID field in the department table is a foreign key, right? So the foreign key employee ID reference is the primary key of the employee table. Foreign key of this department employee ID refer to the employee ID of the employee table, right? So this is the way you can specify the foreign key. You can specify the relationship between these two tables. Then check constraint, right? Whenever the check constraint is applied to the particular column, tables column, the user want to insert a value in it. The value will be first checked for certain conditions, right? And before inserting that value, the condition is checked, and if the condition is satisfying, yes, definitely the value will be inserted into the database table, right? So for example, if we are if we are giving the water, right, water table is there, we just allow all those water those who are above 18, right? So so the age should be greater than 18, right? So such kind of condition we can specify, right? And if you are if anybody trying to what below 18 age, it will restrict, right? Database will show the error message. So how you can specify the check constraint? In this create table, we have to specify the column name followed by the data type and check constraint, check keyword. In this check keyword, you have to specify the column name and followed by the condition. So in this lecture, we have seen how to create the table, what kind of constraints you can apply, such as primary key, not null, unique constraints and foreign key. The rest of thing will be discussed in the next lecture. Till then, namaskar.